The risk of terrorism in the world is lower today because of the good work we did in the United States, because of the remarkable work that happened here in the United Kingdom, and many partners who share our value set and know the risk from terror. But times move on, and while we still have to be enormously vigilant about terror, there's still challenges all across the world. The Chinese Communist Party presents the central threat of our times. It is an enormous economy to which the American economy is deeply tied. There is huge opportunity for us to do really great, creative, innovative business work between our two countries. But the Chinese Communist Party, under President Xi, has made clear that they have an agenda that is not always consistent with the very values that Dominic and I have been speaking about this morning.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we take a look at the latest new Q posts. We dive deep into all of the incredible information that's breaking day to day from the coronavirus and how it seems to be spreading, and people are alleging it could have been some sort of modified weapon of war, to also what is happening in the news, who is being exposed right now, and how this is all going to come out. You guys are going to want to stick around and check out this and a whole lot more. Hi, I'm Craig. Welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. And boy, do we have an episode for you here. We're going to cover the latest Q posts, and we're going to get into some breaking news stories talking about the coronavirus and what could be behind that. Plus, we're going to dive deep into the corruption that is continually being exposed every single day and the cover-up that's being pushed by the Dems. Plus, the Democratic caucus in Iowa is a complete you-know-what show, and you got to hear the stories behind how they used these new apps, which turned out to be complete failures, and how that's just an indication of how this election is going to be going from here on. We're going to have plenty of technical difficulties, it seems, and technology is going to play a huge role as Democrats try to roll out this new app that's being used to basically aggregate data, and it was a complete and total setup, and it seems that everybody knows that it's all a scam, and the truth is coming out. So we're going to cover that. But before we do, I always encourage everyone, come here, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when these videos get posted. It helps channel out big time when you do that. And today we only have one new Q post. It's Q post 3824. We left off at 3823, and we're going to cover this and a whole bunch of other breaking news stories, plus, like I said, get into the coronavirus and everything. So let's just get right into this. The first post here, obviously, this is Q giving us a picture of President Trump with, a bunch of prominent figures in the African American community, and saying wasn't a racist until he ran for president as a Republican and won. So it just seems like you have this hypocrisy, the liberal hypocrisy, which is rampant, and it gets worse every day. But they love to just take things that didn't exist and just manufacture them out of nowhere because they serve their political agendas. And that's what we're seeing with the framing of President Trump as being some kind of racist, when in reality, he's pragmatic, and he's openly been in support of all races and basically everyone across the board. As long as you're an American citizen who's a patriot who loves this country, President Trump has been fighting for you. And it just seems that there are a lot of people out there that want to try to, smear him and turn his image into something that it was never previous to him becoming president of the United States, which is really ironic when you take into effect the double standards from the left. For instance, Q gives us this post from Miguelifornia, which is somebody who President Trump tweeted out earlier in the day. Just to give you an idea, President Trump tweeted this video from Steve Bannon and directed this at Lindsey Graham. He retweeted it to him. And this was an interview I saw on Fox the other day where Steve Bannon basically explains, what President Trump's thoughts and actions should be in regard to how he's being framed in this impeachment hoax sham trial. And also the fact that the Democrats have used this, pushing it back to Wednesday so they could hold it over the State of the Union address and then come out and give. And Steve Bannon kind of lays it out perfectly, telling us about what's going to happen. So I'm going to play this clip, and then we're going to play the clip that Q wants you to watch, which is highlighting the liberal hypocrisy that is just rampant on the left side.
Tremendous respect for him. He guaranteed at the Senate Judiciary Committee, we need to have the whistleblower. We need to have the number 2 whistleblower. We need to have Adam Schiff as a fact witness. We need Hunter and Joe Biden. I think we need Brennan. We need all of them. And here's the other thing we ought to do. President Trump ought to declassify all these reports. He ought to go back to Rosenstein's, the 40 subpoenas at the House under Devin Nunes forwarded to Rosenstein. He ought to get all of those. He ought to get all of those subpoenas, and all those people ought to be called to witness. We need an apparatus that's official to go about this to protect the office of the presidency.
Well, this is why I've been so adamant about this for 3 years. It wasn't about President Trump. It was about fairness. It was about being a patriot. Having the top leadership of the FBI and the CIA put their finger on the scale and try to take down candidate Trump and then President Trump. That's why my audience wants accountability.
This happened in the 50s and 60s. This is why we had the Church Commission that looked into activities of the FBI and the CIA during the 50s and 60s. This is why you had this whole new structure come up. This needs to be put on trial. It needs to be put on trial for the American people. President Trump is right. It is the crime of the century, and we can't cover it up. And we don't need to go to the House Foreign. It's not a foreign affairs issue. It should be Senate Judiciary, and we got to get Senate Judiciary. Here's the reason: Nancy Pelosi and these people are not going to stop. The formal acquittal vote on Wednesday is just the curtain coming down on one act. They're going to continue on. They're going to try to subpoena John Bolton in the House. They want to get his notes. And my point is,
so you don't think this is going to end anytime
soon? It's not going to end. Listen, this ties back to what's happening in Iowa. There's no heat on any of those. There's no personalities out there that can beat the president. The policies are so radical, so they can't run on personalities. They don't have the policies. They must destroy Trump. Nancy Pelosi from day one understands to get back the White House, they must destroy Trump. And the way they're going to use it is use these fake hearings. This is not going to stop. They're going to subpoena more people. They're going to leak more information. And this is why I don't mind getting John Bolton as a witness. Let's cross-examine him. Let's get his notes and cross-examine him about that. Let's get, I don't mind Mick Mulvaney or the OMB people, all the emails. Let's get it up there.
Okay, so there you saw that. I mean, President Trump obviously retweeting this at Lindsey Graham, talking about the Senate Judiciary Committee and how they want to have all these witnesses and get it out there because the Democrats aren't going to stop. And I think what Q's trying to tell us is that their next push is going to be to claim, of course, President Trump is a racist because he wasn't impeached and removed from office. Of course, because what other reason could there be for him not being impeached and removed? I should say not being removed by the Senate trial. So here is the clip that Q wants us to watch, though. So it's basically of Joe Biden telling some stupid racist joke, I guess, back in, 1985 and at the congressional dinner. But President Trump's the racist. So watch this.
Because you're all going to stand up. We're going to have some important people coming out in a minute. But there's one more band member that I want you to meet. Ladies and gentlemen, our vocals tonight, Michael Jackson. Michael, would you please stand? Thank you. Thank you very much. Soon to become Prince, as I was just pointed out to me. Ladies and gentlemen, my job is about over, which will please you almost as much as it pleases me.
So I don't even really get the joke. I think it was a stupid joke. Nobody's even paying attention. But I guess 1985, it was, a totally different time. And you could just say whatever you want. Governor Ralph Northam dressing up as in blackface or in the KKK hood. I don't know which one's worse, right? But, I mean, it's just insane, right? To think about the way these people act and the hypocrisy and the things that they get away with. And I think Q is just, reiterating Miguel Fornia because there's good content here that is for the Anons to kind of dig into. And of course, another example of the hypocrisy on the liberal side, right, which is just incredible and how they're going to push this. I think the next thing is going to be, it seems, from what I'm hearing on Twitter and everything else, is that this new, and we're going to talk about it later in the episode, but the new travel ban from China to, keep the coronavirus from spreading is going to be seen as a racist, movement by President Trump, but we'll wait and see how that goes. The next one here is this video, right? And this is, of course, Hillary Clinton calling you watch here for yourself.
The fourth challenge is to take back our streets from crime, gangs, and drugs. And we have actually been making progress on this count as a nation because of what local law enforcement officials are doing, because of what citizens and neighborhood patrols are doing. We're making some progress. Much of it is related to the initiative called community policing. because we have finally gotten more police officers on the street. That was one of the goals that the president had when he pushed the crime bill that was passed in 1994. He promised 100,000 police. We're moving in that direction, but we can see it already makes a difference. Because if we have more police interacting with people, having them on the streets, we can prevent crimes. We can prevent petty crimes from turning into something worse. But we also have to have an organized effort against gangs. Just as in a previous generation we had an organized effort against the mob. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort against gangs everywhere.
So there you heard Hillary Clinton herself say that we need to bring gangs of kids who are super predators to heel. Now, I'm not sure that that would fly today, given the whole embracing MS-13 that the DNC and the Democratic Party has decided to do, you know, giving felons the right to vote from prison, including terrorists like the Tsarnaev brothers and others. It doesn't seem like the Democrat Party of old would fit with the Democrat Party of new, considering there is no consistent line of logic from one end to the other. It's just whatever is most politically expedient and convenient for our agenda, as in the Democrats, we will say and we will do, and we'll do anything in order to maintain that control over the power that we had. I'm talking from the side of the Democrats, I should say. And that seems to be their philosophy. And it really has become completely transparent over the last decade or two, as we've seen their corrupt schemes basically get exposed by a lot of patriots, including people inside of our armed services, people at STRATCOM, CENTCOM, and people inside different government bureaus and other areas of the private sector. Let's just say there are people all over who are patriots who love this country, or are exposing this criminality, and will not stop until each and every one of these criminals is exposed for what they did in betraying our country, hypothetically. So let's just say that that's all very possible, and we'll move right on to what Q says. Q says, open your eyes to see the truth. Who are the real racists? Q. Well, we know who the real racists are. It's the people who are the hypocrites, who try to label. It's all projecting it onto President Trump for what they know they are most guilty of. Now, kind of switching gears here, let's talk about some of the major news stories. So first of all, you have people saying that something big happened in the Senate during this trial, the last phase of the trial. And this is reporting by Anons on the 8chan board, so definitely take it with a grain of salt. And then there's some theories out there. So I'm going to just share what they say happened, and you guys be, for yourself, make up your own mind. But it says what went down was that the speeches started, then suddenly all the senators trickled off the floor over a period of about 10 minutes. Then the speeches stopped 5 minutes later with no explanation. Then McConnell came to the floor, visibly shaken, made some announcements for the State of the Union and Senate business the next day, and that only 2 more senators would give speeches to end today. Then he left quickly. 5 minutes later, Murkowski gave a speech and nobody else did. Something happened big today, and it stopped the Senate in its tracks. The Anons go on to say, it wasn't the impeachment trial that shut down. It was the 3 days of 10-minute speeches each senator was to give to explain why they are voting one way or the other. This was what Schumer and Nancy demanded. This is what the Republicans agreed to. 4 to 6 hours today, all day tomorrow and Wednesday before the final vote. It was the heart of the Dem media machine's effort. If 10-minute speeches began, there were 5 or 6 then senators left the chamber. Why? Nobody knows. Nothing so far is leaked. But this is notable. What happened, and Anon doesn't know, but Anon knows, right? Something big happened. And this Sun Q Zoo, which I think is an account that's been retweeted by Q, if I'm not mistaken, but forgive me if I got that incorrect, of course. But this is their theory on it. They basically looked at this and said the theory is that someone high up in the DOJ was instructed to show several senators their sealed indictments, which are about to be unsealed, shut them real fast, right? It says sealed indictments, sealed. It would be enough to show them an indictment with their name on it. I'm not saying they'd be shown the unsealed version yet. All it would take is showing them the sealed indictments with their name. They already know the crimes. That's just one theory about what all this is that happened. And I'm going to tell you, it's interesting to look at this kind of turn of events, especially when you look at what is coming out, for instance, U.S. Stratcom. And I know there's patriots in Stratcom, CENTCOM, AFRICOM, EUROCOM, AsiaCom, every command position that we have in every branch of the armed services. There are patriots who are out there working every single day to expose this. But this one was a very interesting one. It says it's B Tuesday. Now we know what Q told us about B2. B2 is Bill Barr, the stealth bomber that was being used. It says when a B2 bomber is no longer stealth, think public statements made last week. This is back in December of 2019. What must that signal? Planned coordinated attacks on Barr, continue smear campaign. Public opinion is important. Information warfare, a traitor's justice. Q. So Q's been hinting to the fact that major cases are being put together behind the scenes by Bill Barr. I've heard from my sources that this has been in the works, and it seems to be quite possible that these investigations, yes, they have to have every I dotted and T crossed, because they have to be ironclad. They have to be able to take these people to court and actually win. And these are some of the most powerful people in the world, to a degree, with the level of backing that they've been able to get from this deep state cabal that's used all of the institutions of our government and other global institutions that make them have a certain level of immunity, or had previously had a certain level of immunity that was only to be seen for a very exclusive set of people, right, globally. So that aside, remember what Q told us here, right? It says if this is all a part of the plan, right, and what you're seeing here is more hints and signals, especially from U.S. Stratcom, Strategic Command, saying B Tuesday, and then just happens to give a graphic that reminds us the height of the B-52 is 17 feet, that its width is 172, or 17 times 2, or whatever. A lot of people get into the gematria of all this and all that stuff, but I'm just saying, you guys tell me what you think down below. It's just a thought. Not to mention, we have the previous post from Q confirming what Bill Barr has been doing behind the scenes. He's been working with Durham, who's been working with Admiral Rogers and others to basically put together a case against all of these criminals, and especially the criminals who orchestrated this coup against President Trump. I can't stress how important it is for our country to have justice against these traitors like Adam Schiff and Pelosi and the rest, who went forward in orchestrating this hoax sham. First, the special counsel was done by James Comey, and then and put together by the Clintonistas, and then it was Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi with this, and Nadler with this impeachment hoax, and it just goes on and on and on. And there's so many connections that we can make. Not to mention the fact you have Sarah Carter, President Trump retweeting this about Sarah Carter's GOP investigation into thousands of Obama administration documents that are under review regarding Ukraine White House meetings. Now, what could that be referring to? Well, I'll tell you exactly what it's referring to. It's referring to this right here. Now, we know we can't say Eric's CIA's name on YouTube or Google, because the thought police, the literal Orwellian thought police straight out of 1984, will take your piece of information, your video, your article, whatever, and they will do everything they can to throw it into the memory hole. So if they try to take this video down, you'll know why it was taken down. It's because of this video I'm about to play you right here, which is publicly available. Not only is it publicly available on C-SPAN and Twitter, it's C-SPAN is the account putting it up, the official government account for all of the information that we get, right? And then, which is all public and fair use, right? And here you have Rand Paul explaining why it's incorrect and unconstitutional that, and it didn't make any sense that the Chief Justice who's presiding over President Trump's impeachment trial would remove his question and refuse to ask it, when it was only referencing people who we know had seemingly, according to multiple allegations, been colluding since day one of President Trump's administration to try to get him impeached. And they would do, and these are the same players, mind you, who are suspected to be the whistleblower, and others who have been Obama holdovers planted deep inside the bureaucracy, who've been establishing a way to overthrow President Trump. These are the coup plotters, right? Let's hear what Representative, or Senator, I should say, Rand Paul has to say. And again, I just have to note here again that this is already, you can watch this same clip on the C-SPAN official channel on YouTube, which is fair use. This is definitely a part of, investigative work, news work, whatever you want to call it. And it's covered by fair use. So watch this clip and then we'll talk about it.
Now, during the proceedings, I asked a question that was disallowed. And I'm going to ask that question again this morning because the Constitution does protect debate and does protect the asking of questions. I think they made a big mistake not allowing my question. My question did not talk about anybody who is a whistleblower. My question did not accuse anybody of being a whistleblower. It did not make a statement believing that someone was a whistleblower. I simply named two people's names because I think it's very important to know what happened. We're now finding out that the FISA investigation was predicated upon 17 lies by the FBI, by people at high levels who were biased against the president, and it turns out it was an illegitimate investigation. Everything they did about investigating the president was untrue and abused government to do something they never should have done in the first place. So I asked this question, and this is my question, my exact question, and we'll put it up here. Are you aware that the House Intelligence Committee staffer, Sean Misko, had a close relationship with Eric while at the National Security Council together? Are you aware, and how would you respond to reports that and Misko may have worked together to plot impeaching the president before there were formal House impeachment proceedings? Now, why did I ask this question? Because there are news reports saying these two people, one of them who works for Adam Schiff and one of them who worked with this person at the National Security Council, that they knew each other and had been overheard talking about impeaching the president in the first month of his office. In January of 2017, they were already plotting the impeachment. And you say, well, we should protect the whistleblower, and the whistleblower deserves anonymity. The law does not preserve anonymity. His boss is not supposed to say anything about him. He's not supposed to be fired. I'm for that. But when you get into the details of talking about whistleblowers, there's a variety of opinions around here. The greatest whistleblower in American history, in all likelihood, was Edward Snowden. What do people want to do with him? Half the people here want to put him to death. The other half want to put him in jail forever. So it depends on what you blow the whistle on, whether or not they're actually for the whistleblower statute. I'm not for retributions on the whistleblower. I don't want him to go to jail. I don't want him to lose his job. But if 6 people who all worked together at the National Security Council knew each other and gamed the system, knowing that they would get these protections, they gamed the system in order to try to bring down the president, we should know about that. If they had extreme bias going into the impeachment, we should know about that. So I think the question is an important one, and I think we should still get to the bottom of it. Were people plotting to bring down the president? They were plotting in advance of the election. Were they plotting within the halls of government to bring down the president? Look, these people also knew the Vindman brothers, who are still in government. So you got 2 Vindman brothers over there who know Eric, who also know Sean Misko, who also knew 2 other people working on Adam Schiff's staff. And Adam Schiff throws his hands up and says, I don't know who the whistleblower is. I've never met him. I have no idea who he is. So if he doesn't know who he is, the President's Council doesn't know who he is, how does the Chief Justice of the United States know who the whistleblower is? I have no independent confirmation from anyone in government as to who the whistleblower is. So how am I prevented from asking a question when nobody seems to admit that they even know who this person is?
And there you saw Senator Rand Paul explain exactly why Adam Schiff and what he's doing in, pretending he doesn't know what's happening, and how they're covering up for this whistleblower, but not saying that they know who he is, but then trying to keep questions from being asked about people who have a very reasonably close tie to this whole investigation, and the fact that there's possibility, even as, let's say it's a small possibility, which I don't think that's true. I think it's very likely, but let's just say it's even just the smallest and slightest of possibilities that there were people inside the government actively working inside the halls of Congress and government to set up a president based off of false information, false accusations, to be overthrown in basically a coup. I mean, we can't talk about that. We have to be censored. We have to be cast as bigots and racists and thrown into the memory hole, never to be heard again. That's what they do to us, right? They're going to do that to President Trump, excuse me. They're going to do that to us. They're going to do that to me and you and everyone else who stands up against this, because they have nothing else. They have, the things that we're uncovering, if true, are indefensible. Also, finally, before we go, we have this story coming out that President Trump, as we talked about before, ordered the first quarantine in 50 years, which bans travel from China. And it says the order issued on Friday announced that foreign officials other than immediate family of U.S. citizens and permanent residents who have traveled in China in the last 14 days will be denied entry into the United States. American citizens returning from the U.S. Returning the U.S. to the U.S., I guess it should say, from areas in China where they may have been exposed to the virus will be quarantined, while others coming from the rest of China will be screened for the virus. So this is a big deal, and it goes to this story. Now, we know Zero Hedge, of course, was thrown off Twitter for writing stories, I guess, and I guess that's where we're at in this world and in this day and age, where you can just get banned from Twitter for saying things that people don't like. And it's neither here nor there, I guess, to the point of this story, which is that the creator of the U.S. Bioweapons Act says that the coronavirus is a biological warfare weapon. Now, this is something I'm going to leave for you guys, linked in the description if you want to read through it and make your own mind up. But it talks about the fact that Wuhan had this connection, right, where they had this level 4 biohazard security facility, which is basically another way of saying a bioweapons facility, where China was studying and examining these very deadly, contagious pathogens and viruses, right, that could be used in biological warfare, right? And Tom Cotton even got on in front of the U.S. Congress and said, look, we know about these facilities. And he also talked about the fact that this was not coming from a wet market in China. It was coming from other patients who had been infected. But then the story, more interestingly, starts making these connections, right? And the connections are basically between this virus that was discovered by Saudi scientists back in their research of these deadly corona diseases. Goes back to this, I guess, reporting from this Great Game India, which said that the authors of this, basically this report, said that they have a plausible theory about how the novel coronavirus organism traveled. It was first discovered in Saudi Arabia in 2012 by Saudi scientists, then studied in Canada, from whence it was allegedly stolen by a Chinese scientist and brought to Wuhan. Like the statement of Taiwan's intelligence chief in 2008, the Great Game India story has come under in big attack for this. And they ask, how did it mutate? How did it get to as contagious of a virus as it did without any, actual tinkering from these weaponizing labs, right? Well, this is a big story. I'll leave it for you guys to read. But yeah, I just thought I'd touch on that too to keep us updated on what's going on in Wuhan. So we had a few more things, or we have a few more things to go into really quick before we sign off. Come here, watch these videos, share them on your social media, get the word out that way. There's a content suppression algorithm. They're trying to keep this information away from the public, away from you. So we have to share it. It means hit the share button, get it out that way. If you're scratching your head going, what is QAnon? Watch this video right here. And don't forget to leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about everything. Also, if you guys want to get a great product for free and support this channel, I would encourage you to check out the Brave browser. It's an internet browser just like Google Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, whatever you're using, but it's better. It blocks ads and it makes your internet experience that much better. And if you guys are like me, you go on the internet, you do get 1,000 pop-up ads and it makes it impossible to get even through an article on some sites. Well, this takes care of that problem and it makes your internet experience that much better, and it supports the channel and it's free. Use the link in the description. to download the Brave browser, install it, and run it on your computer, and then they'll make a contribution to this channel. So it's a win-win. It's a great product. I hope you guys go try it out. Also, speaking of great products, redpillliving.com/justinformed. There'll be a link in the description. You got to check out this new Great Awakening premium quality coffee. Now, if you guys are into coffee and you want to support Patriot organization, and you want to support this channel, use the link in the description to buy this great product, this great coffee. They have bags of all different types of coffee, high quality products, and they also have the K-Cups if you guys like those little K-Cup machines. So it's a great win-win. Definitely go down, use the link in the description, redpillliving.com/justinformed, and then use the coupon code justinformed to get 10% off your coffee purchase today, the Great Awakening coffee. It'll give you a great feeling in the morning when you wake up. So go try that out. Now, a few other ways you can help out the channel. I'm over here on Twitter. You can find me at JustInformYou. I also have justinformednews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk. Links and other things will be there for you guys to go check out. BitChute.com/JustInformedTalk. It's the backup channel for the main channel here. So that's a great place to go subscribe and get some information on over there. Also, you guys can come support the channel financially over here at Patreon, patreon.com/justinformedtalk. It's a monthly donation. You guys set it and forget it. And you guys have kept this channel alive, especially when Google came in July of last year and they demonetized everything. They took everything away, trying to put this channel out of business. You guys making this monthly donation keeps it alive, so I can't tell you how much I'm thankful for that. Also, I have a GoFundMe set up. If you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation, you guys keep this channel alive, so thank you truly for that. Also, one more thing before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today, I want to share a verse out of the book of John, and it's out of John chapter 3, verse 31, and it talks about the one from heaven, and that is Jesus Christ, our Lord. And I want to share these words with you. It says, "The one who comes from above is above all. The one who is from the earth is earthly and speaks in earthly terms. The one who comes from heaven is above all. He testifies to what he has seen and heard, yet no one accepts his testimony. The one who has accepted his testimony has affirmed that God is true. For God sent him, and he speaks God's words, since he gives the Spirit without measure. The Father loves the Son and has given all things into his hands. The one who believes in the Son has eternal life, but the one who refuses to believe in the Son will not see life. Instead, the wrath of God remains on him." And that is something I'd like us all to remember to live by, and put that in your hearts and carry that with you every day. And remember that Jesus died on the cross for our sins, and our belief is our testament to God that we put being righteous and living a Christ-like life above all else. And that's why if we do that and put that first and foremost in every way that we can every day, we will be saved. And that's a part of our eternal salvation, the gift that has been given to us through that sacrifice on the cross. And I want you guys to go out there and spread that message as far and as wide as you can. So that's going to be it for me. I want to say thanks for watching. Come here, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. Hit it, punch it, tap it, bop it, twist it, whatever. Hit the like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. But that's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.